Okay, my name's Ian Gagno,
I'm Michael Muir.
and today we're going to talk to you about LiquiNet. Also on our team is Devin Keeler. He's our power system engineering team. Net Conachio, she specializes in our communication and outreach. Mike does the mobile communications engineering for our group, and I work on the mechanical integration and also know about international development. So 2 years ago, I went on my first trip to Uganda. And on that trip, it was an Engineers Without Borders trip. What we were trying to do is to find a new project for the group. So what we did is we went around to a bunch of different schools in the area. One of the schools we went to was this school called Chetkana Primary School. And at Chetkana, we talked to one of the teachers and we asked them, how do your students get their water during the school day? And he said that they used to have 2 functioning wells in the schoolyard. But within a couple of years, those 2 wells had broken. So we asked them, all right, where do your students get their water now? Because they must have to drink something during the school day. So he led us on this path back behind the school, down to that stream right there. And he told us that that turquoise water was what the students were drinking during the school day. And that struck a chord with me. There was actually an NGO just down the street installing brand new wells at another school. And I said, why are we installing brand new wells when there's 2 wells at this school that just need to be repaired, and then 400 kids at this school could have good drinking water? So I started to think about it more, and I tried to realize why is this problem? Why is this happening? And what I realized is that it's not sexy for an NGO to go and repair a well. There's no glory for them to go and repair a well. And donors here in the US or Europe or wherever, they don't want to sponsor a project to go and repair a well. It doesn't make them feel as good to go and repair a well. So I realized that NGOs are performing these projects that I call fire and forget projects. They go, they install a well, and then they move on and install another well and another well and another well without worrying about the wells that they've already installed. And this is a huge issue because all those wells that they're installing, they're breaking down within a year or 2. So globally, each year, $166 billion is spent on development work. And I think a lot of that money is being wasted because all these projects are being installed, and then within a couple years, they break down. So this past fall, I came up with a solution that's going to solve that, and we're calling it Eden. Eden is a remote sensing device that connects NGOs, local communities, and donors together to better inform them about the success of their projects. It also has a mobile money payment system where local community members can use their cell phones to make payments to pay for the water that they're getting out of these water sources. They can use that money saved in an account with the community, and in the event of a malfunction of their water source, they can use that money to repair their own well, effectively eliminating the need for those NGOs to return and repair the wells. We have our prototype here, and Mike's actually going to demonstrate it for you, and I'm going to bring up our
Right here is
website.
our prototype. It works right now. You can attach this to the pump, the base of it, and you can attach our flow sensor straight to the nozzle, and you can see the water real time coming from the pump to our website. We'll demonstrate it right now. And we are collecting data.
So it takes about 30 seconds for the signal to get transmitted. And there you can see that it's actually recognizing that there's flow coming through. So this is the early stages of our product.
This could work in Africa right now also.
Yeah. So let me bring that presentation back up. So the way we see it, we have 3 main customer segments. First off is the development agencies who purchase our device. After purchasing our device, they can install it on their projects, and they get real-time data about how successful their projects are, and they can see how much of an impact they're making. They can also use that data to better predict where they need to, how they can change their strategy. They can also use the data to drive donations by better engaging donors. Donors also get the direct quantitative feedback. They can see how much return on investment their donations are having on the local communities, and they don't just have to rely on what the NGO tells them. The local communities get increased water point sustainability, and they can start to own their own water point. They can maintain their own water point now that they have an easy way of accepting payments. So this past fall, we went out and we talked to over 100 people who work at NGOs and development agencies, and we asked them what they thought. And a lot of them really liked the idea. They understood the problem, and they told us that they would actually be willing to purchase our system, and they would be willing to help us test it as well. One of them in particular, Child Voice International, is helping us put on a pilot study this summer in Uganda where we're going to put 3 of these devices on wells and test them for 2 weeks. So now we're not the only people trying to monitor flow. National Instruments, big company, OneSet, data loggers, they also monitor flow here in the developed world. But really, LiquiNet in Eden is the only solution that's affordable. It's built for the developing world. It quantitatively measures how much of an impact our device, the projects are having. Our devices actually work in a mesh network, and they allow mobile money transfers to help increase the sustainability of the projects. So a little timeline here to show you where we're going. Next week, I'm actually on my way to Ethiopia. We're going to perform our first network test on the African cell network. In August, we're going to do our 2-week pilot study where we're going to put 3 of these on wells in Uganda. Then in October, we're going to go to an Engineers Without Borders conference and start making our first sales. In year 2, we're going to partner with a large NGO to pursue a large grant to help us develop our system into a more developed product. And in year 3, we eventually become a self-sustaining company that doesn't rely on grant funding. So I want to leave you with a quote. It's from Bill Clinton. He said that the best NGOs are those that conceive of projects from day one with the explicit purpose of working themselves out of a job by empowering citizens to take over without reliance on external donations. We're developing a product that's actually going to allow NGOs to do that. And winning the Holloway competition is going to allow us to turn our product, our prototype, into a functioning product. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Do you have funding already from?
Yeah, so we do have some funding already. This project started as a class project this past fall. We got some money from that. We also got a grant from IBM to work on this, an IBM Smarter Planet grant. And we got we got second place in the Social Venture Innovation Challenge this past fall.
Two of the differentiators you had up there were the mesh network and affordable. What does that mean to say it's affordable, and what is the mesh network?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Okay, so affordable, National Instruments, if you try and buy a National Instruments data logger, it's going to be thousands of dollars. A Hobo data logger is also thousands of dollars. Our device sells for $500. One of our competitors, SweetSense, has a device that they sell for $860. So we're undercutting them there. And also this mesh network, the mesh network thing, the way that it works is our devices, they can actually communicate between each other from one well to another well. And another expense for our system is the data. You have to pay to transmit this data over the cell network. So by using a mesh network, we're actually going to transmit data from one well to another well to another well. And then one device will upload the signal to the cell network, and that'll save on data transmission, which is something our competitors don't do.
So what about the education component of the end user in Uganda or whatever? I mean, is that a huge thing? Or?
So it will be a thing. That's a part of that's why we sell them to the NGOs. The NGOs take these devices. They know how to work with their own communities. They know how to educate their communities, and that's what the NGOs will do.
long will they last? You buy one, what's the expected life of a unit such as
Yeah.
that?
So our first prototype that we made last fall was built on a similar system, and the engineer who helped us develop that system told us that as long as things don't get wet or the temperature doesn't go above 140 degrees, it should last 10 years.
Okay, so you sell the unit, what's it cost you to make it? So what is your margins on this unit itself?
Yeah. So what you see right there is $160 worth of prototyping materials. It's going to cost a lot less once we make our own printed circuit board, once we start buying these things in bulk. So less than $160 to make it.
Right.
We're going to sell it for $500. Yeah.
What about, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And what about, you mentioned something about the data transfer. Does that income come to you, or does that go to the data carriers?
So yeah, the data transfer is going to be paid to the cell networks.
All right, so you don't have a method of, obviously, continuing an income stream from the actual sale, right? You sell the product, that's it, and there's no maintenance. You don't have like a maintenance contract, or I'm just looking forward to more. And I get the whole social investment type thing, but still, if someone's going to give you an investment, they may not want 15 or 30% return. They might only want 8 to 12% because it is a socially responsible type of company.
Yeah. So
but they still want to make money.
I see. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So the way that we're actually not looking for like venture capital or any of that to fund our products and develop the development of our product. We think that we know that we can fund this product with grant funding from organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, things like that. So that's what we're going for, and I do see what you're saying with the get at some sort of continuing revenue stream. We haven't quite figured out how to do that yet, but yeah, right now
it seems like you're not for profit at this point.
We're right now what we're
If you're working on donations, and they find out that you're pulling down 50% of the donations are going to fund your living expenses, and travel expenses. I don't think many people are going to continue that, even the donors. So you have to be careful in how you balance that.
Yeah, we're aiming towards being kind of on the B Corp type of path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is okay. Got it.
And maybe a little bit related, so the mobile money transfers, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that may be where you say maybe there's a little bit of a swipe to sort of fund reserves, if you will, from that. Maybe that's where you make your money. But I guess, cynically speaking, people always hear about money that gets sent to places like this never gets to the right, it gets swiped off by someone who's not further in the mission here. What's the risk for your product and the money transfers and so forth? What risk is that here?
As far as like security or
just is there a chance that what you're doing, you're solving, it seems, a problem, and which is fine, but is there some risk of I think Larry was talking about in terms of making money, is there some risk that monies could get siphoned off, and this could be the next thing? So the wells get built and they're broken. Then this thing here, this monitor, is broken.
Yeah, I think I understand your question now. So the way that we're going to set it up is that the NGO with the community is going to manage this bank account that all the mobile money payments get stored in. So theoretically speaking, the donors could also see the bank account, and they could see the bank account goes up, and then they would see, okay, the well broke, we're not getting any flow on it, and then there would be a big withdrawal from the bank account because they purchased some things or pay someone to come repair their pump. And all that data, the NGO can decide how much they want to show or how much they don't want to show. We're going to make it real customizable.
Now, what part of this is patentable, if at all?
We're not planning on pursuing patents at this point. What we're planning on doing is we're developing one of the first solutions that does this, and we're going to be the first to market, and we're going to make a turnkey solution that people just want to use. We're not planning on pursuing patents because most of the technology in here isn't unique, and we're just combining things in a
So then
unique way.
What prevents, say, IBM that says, you know, we can build this for $30, and we'll just give it away. And we'll do this all for just as a social responsibility from a corporation perspective, and they still get their, their write-off, their expense, their tax break or what have you from that.
Okay.
What presents the 800-pound gorilla saying, you know what, we can do this, we'll do it for free, you guys are done.
Well, I don't think that'll happen because IBM's actually already sponsoring us
As
already.
an example.
But
As an example.
yeah, I see.
One of the big boys.
I see what you're saying.
into play.
I think the big boys are actually more likely to donate to a project like this
Instead of building it.
instead of building it themselves.
That's good.
Sweet Sense got a $4 million Google Global Innovation Award to help them out to develop their product.
Right now, you're monitoring the water. Is it possible technically to do more than do that, to actually diagnose the problem? So that when they send the repair guy out to repair it, he knows what the problem's going to be? Can you bring the right stuff? Or is that too much?
I mean, given enough time and money, you can do anything. But yeah, that would be awesome to do. Right now, our technology doesn't do that.
You're going to be selling to the NGOs. Are there any of them that are particularly large that would buy 1,000 or 10,000?
Yeah, we talked to a charity called Ryan's Well. They put in over 100 wells a year, and they were one of the NGOs that told us that they would be interested in purchasing our product. They also have thousands of wells and water systems already in existence.
So is there a potential for monitoring water quality too, and potability?
Yeah, so it depends exactly what type of water quality you want to measure. Physical properties such as like turbidity and dissolved solids, that could be monitored. I've looked into this. I want to do it. It's really hard. I'm not sure how to do it yet, but monitoring such like organics like fecal coliforms and stuff like that is very hard to do with an electronic system and do it again and again and again without replacing some sort of chemical or test strip or something like that. I want to do it, but we haven't figured it out yet.
Are these competitors here on your screen, do they operate under the same premise as you're going to operate, the hybrid nonprofit profit, or how do they operate?
Okay, so National Instruments is a for-profit.
Totally.
They make billions of dollars every year. OneSet, Hobo Data Loggers, also for-profit. Charity Navigator is a website. I believe they're a nonprofit. Sweet Sense is similar to us, but they're also, Sweet Sense is more of a research group out of Portland State University. They're not really trying to they are trying to bring a product to market, but they're a group of researchers who are doing this as a research project and occasionally selling one is what they're doing.
One question, the monetization part, mobile payments, you talked about that a little bit. Is that you see that as an important part of the overall business model?
The mobile payments?
Yeah, that how it becomes sustainable?
We don't take any income from the mobile payments. The mobile payments goes to the community and that stays with the community. But what the mobile payments allows us to do with this product is it allows the community to take ownership of their own water system. In the more urban parts of developing countries, they actually people pay for water coming out of wells just like we do here. In the more rural areas, they don't do it because it's impossible to have someone sit at a well where in the morning and in the evening, there's lots of people there. But throughout the day, you might go hours until someone comes to a well, and you can't have someone sit there and collect a payment for water if there's only one person coming every hour. It doesn't make sense, and you can't pay them. So we're creating an efficient way of collecting those payments using mobile technology, such that they can actually collect the payments.
Follow-up question. So the NGOs that you've spoken to, the groups that you've spoken to, there is a high willingness to buy, correct?
Yep.
And the price point of 500 is in the market?
So that price point of $500, the way we came up with that is we surveyed those 100 people in different NGOs. And I will admit, a lot of the people that we surveyed were members of Engineers Without Borders chapters. That's how I've gotten my experience. And we asked them, how much would your chapter pay for this? That number comes out of those surveys with the Engineers Without Borders chapters and those other NGOs.
And how big's the market again? 166 billion?
166 billion is spent on global development every year, globally.
How about on water projects?
Yeah.
On water projects, it's like water projects and schools and stuff like that is around 40 billion.
So it's tens of thousands of units per year in Africa and India.
Yeah. There's also, so our system is built to go on the India Mark II hand pump, which is the most common hand pump in developing countries. There's 5 million of those in operation right now.
Okay. And can you just talk, I was reading that in your summary here, just talk a little bit more about that. There was something that you said, there's potential there, but that also, I think, requires some additional.
There's potential for what?
I mean, you have the 5 million as additional market share.
Okay, yeah, so we won't be able to put them on every India Mark II hand pump. There's going to be certain there'll be certain places where it just won't work. Just like every product, there's certain places where it just won't work. So that's why we said there's potential. But that's the market size, 5 million.
What do you
India
think?
Mark IIs.
What is addressable then? Do you think, given the parameters, constraints, mobile?
I'd say about a third. What people would probably think is the limiting factor on this is where you're going to get cell service.
Yeah.
And a statistic on that, I've been to these developing countries the whole time. We're using cell phones to talk to each other as a group. And in 2007, I believe it was, the World Bank did a study to figure out how many people in the world are able to get cell service. And in 2007, it was 90% of the population. It's probably more now.